There is a knowing in being an artist. There is a knowing. You can't guess. You can't think. There is a knowing. You have to know that even if it doesn't work out today, tomorrow, it may eventually work out. An artist that played might not be popular today, but may catch on fire tomorrow. You have to have this knowing that, okay, it might not work out today, might not work out tomorrow, but this is the right thing. And this is what I'm doing. And this is what's feeding me. Shawn Corey Carter, better known as Jay-Z, rapper and business executive. I'm Stephen Middleton, coming to you from the Possibility Action Network. Our core values include I am, I can, and I will. I am Possibility Man. Today, I want to share on the theme Deep Knowing. But first, a reminder, we are migrating over to our YouTube channel, so to be informed when we post new content, visit our new YouTube channel by following the link here and subscribe to that channel. You'll get information about our podcasts and other information that we post on social media. Now back to our sharing, deep knowing. Let me let you know where I'm coming from. Now, the kinds of things that I share wherever I speak, and it has been this way for many years now, are things that I want to see better, are things, are subjects, are themes that I want to understand better. So in talking about deep knowing, I'm really talking to myself. Now, I began thinking about deep knowing a few days ago because I came upon the teachings, the understanding presented by a philosopher and theosopher named Sydney Banks. Now, Sydney Banks is well known for talking about mind, consciousness, and thought. I like just calling it MCT. MCT. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know the mysteries of what Sydney Banks was saying, but I found one of his books, The Enlightened Gardner, to be extremely important on the subject of mind, consciousness, and thought. And in The Enlightened Gardner, I walk away with a distinct impression that Sydney Banks was saying that there is one consciousness that's in the world. Now, one universal consciousness, one consciousness that is everywhere, and it is beyond the material world. And in this consciousness that pervades all life, all of the answers, all of the knowledge that's available to individuals today are in this consciousness. And that knowledge, that wisdom, that understanding is available to you now. So from Sydney Banks, I get the impression that wisdom is innate, that health is innate, that what you need to know in order to have a successful life, a good life, is all innate, and that it is in you now. That you don't have to create it, you don't have to look for it. Well, maybe you do have to look for it to discover it. To uncover it is a better way of putting it, but it's there now. Let me paraphrase a few things that Sydney Banks says in the book, The Enlightened Gardner. He said, and I'm paraphrasing gently now, the answer you seek is where you're sitting. That the answer you seek is not somewhere else. It's not located in someone else's mind or in someone else's awareness. The answer or answers in the plural that you seek is where you are standing. I heard one of Sydney Banks's students Dr. William Pettit said that it's right in his underbritches. He was talking about wellness, about his emotional wellness, about his emotional health. And he says that the only place it can be is right there in his underbritches. And Sydney Banks is saying that about the answers that you seek. I mean, in our world, of course, we are almost taught to look for answers outside of ourselves. But Sydney Banks says it's right where you are standing. Another statement that struck me that he shared: you are as wise as anyone you admire, but you don't realize it. I'll repeat that. You are as wise as anyone you admire, but you just don't realize it. Once again, I'm paraphrasing gently from the book, The Enlightened Gardner, written by Sydney Banks. So the wisdom is in you. When I was a younger man, I remember praying for wisdom. I didn't understand that wisdom was right here, right where I am, had always been, and will always be. Another statement Sydney Banks made is this: we all possess the gifts of the universe that is God. And these are mind, consciousness, and thought. A very intriguing proposition advanced by Sydney Banks, but I believe that the rapper Jay-Z tapped into this understanding, even though he would never talk about it in the same way as Sydney Banks did. But listen to what Jay-Z wrote or said. He said, there is a knowing in being an artist. That there is a knowing. That there's a knowing. He repeated it several times. You can guess, he said. You can think. There is a knowing. And Jay-Z works with artists around the world. And one of the artists that he worked with is known as Shuggie Otis. Perhaps you know that name. You can find him on the internet. Jay-Z said when he started working with Shuggie Otis, Shuggie was not well known. That some people thought that Shuggie's stuff wasn't that good. But Jay-Z said that Jay-Z, had a knowing about the work of Shuggie Otis. And today, in 2021, I checked Shuggie Otis's work out. One of his songs, I think it's called Sweet Thing, topped over 1 million shares on YouTube. But when Shuggie Otis started out, Sweet Thing was not that popular. His other song, Strawberry Letter, tops almost 500,000. But Jay-Z said that in the beginning, Shuggie Otis' stuff was not considered to be that good. But Jay-Z said he had a knowing. When I went to college back in 1972, out of my hometown, Cross, South Carolina, where neither my mother and my father knew anything about a college, and I came from plying a mule. And me, like many of the kids from my community, I'm not unusual in that respect. But I went to college, I heard that you got to choose a major. My God, I had no idea what a major was. I thought I wanted to study law. So someone said, well, this major is good for the study of law, so I'll pick that major. But then I encountered a historian. His name was Dr. Michael Brandstatter. Of all things, he taught Western civilization. Dr. Brandstatter had recently earned his PhD, his Doctor of Philosophy degree from Duke University. And he was a hot shot. You could tell that he felt that he knew his stuff. When Dr. Brandstatter walked into his room with his book and put his things on the table, he would just start flinching with his left eye. I admired him so, I began to flinch with my left eye as well. But because of Dr. Brandstatter, because of Western civilization, the course that he taught, I had this knowing. I didn't have to ask anyone what I should pick as a major. I didn't have to ask anyone what they thought about my selection of a major. I just had that knowing. And because of that experience, as Jay-Z said, I knew that I should major in history. Now, I had no idea about what a historian did. I had no idea that there was a professional career called a historian. In fact, I tried to run away from this professional career because I thought I wasn't that good at it. But for over 40 years, I did the work of a historian because of a knowing I had back in the early 1970s. You too have a knowing. And I would invite you to put some notes in the text box below this video, wherever you see it on social media. Let's start a conversation about those things that you know, or that those things that you once knew, that no one had to convince you of it. It could have been a career, it could have been something else, but there is a knowing. And that's what Sydney Banks, I believe, once again, I'm not pretending to be an expert on anything that he said. He has many students that he personally taught all around the world. Those individuals may have a better handle on it. But my knowing is that Sydney Banks was advancing the idea that that knowing is available to us now. And I've just shared my story of knowing, and I've invited you to share your study of knowing by making some notes in the comment section on social media, wherever you discover this video. I have this knowing now. I mean, this is why the Possibility Action Network exists. I have this knowing that it's possible for an individual to become financially fit in 2021 and beyond, even though we are in the wake of a pandemic. I have this knowing that an individual can experience, as much physical health as possible for him or her, no matter what their situation is. I have this knowing. I just have this knowing that someone who may have, let's say, multiple sclerosis and may hear me talk about living with muscular dystrophy and hear me spending time on my bicycle pedaling away, trying to create the best health that I can, may be inspired to exercise, to take better care of themselves. I just have this knowing. I have this knowing that the Possibility Action Network would get to a point where someone who feels hopeless, who feel like they're at their wits' end, and they somehow could hear something from the Possibility Action Network, and even though they may have a gun planted at their heart or their chest, thinking that they're going to pull the trigger, they may release the gun and put it down because they heard something from the Possibility Action Network, from one of you who share in the Possibility Action Network. I have this knowing. I'm Stephen Middleton. I'm with the Possibility Action Network. Our core values include I am, I can, and I will. I am Possibility Man. Until next time, good day